Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown episode 405. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm back.
Yeah. Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Adam Vale.
How you doing?
And Brian Manjoma.
I don't know how to feel about that new Need for Speed game.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So yes, as you can see, Manny and I are in the same physical vicinity. You're here for the Comic Cons, aren't you?
Yep, and in town for New York Comic Con. We just had the first day today and Thursday. Just doing my thing. Saw a fan from the show. Didn't get his name, but he enjoys the show, and he picked up some stuff from me, and we got to talking, and it was really cool. So it was nice to have
Barry Burton was there too.
Barry Burton was there. Barry Burton was there. I'm sure he's here right now, cursing the New York Comic Con itself for existing.
Boycott Comic Con. That's
See, there
hilarious.
you go. That's it right there. So, so it was great. I have a really great row of people. It's all folks that I know, and an artist that I haven't met, but I know his work. I can't I can't remember his name. It's like Hernandez or something like that. Anyway, the guy is super talented. He literally designed he does like custom toys and like luchador masks and stuff. So he designed these sort of Marvel sideshow figures that are all like Marvel luchador versions of themselves.
Fun.
So they're like these kind of cool looking vinyl figures that he had designed for them. And then he just was showing off some of his new stuff. This dude was crazy though. Like he's like, yo man, I came in today and this dude had like a shitload of bags. He brought all this shit on the plane.
Oh man.
And he came in at like 6 a.m. in the morning. So that meant that he had to wake up stupidly early. Like he probably caught a red eye.
Probably did, yeah. That's crazy.
But yeah, hustle's real.
Yeah.
When it comes
Make
to
that
this.
money, man.
Well, I mean, when you're coming into a big market like that's the thing. It's not like a Comic Con out in nowhere land. It's Comic Con in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's millions, thousands of people. But thousands show up.
I don't know the things now, but before the Rona, the New York Comic Con was actually bigger than the San Diego one in terms of audience and stuff. Much bigger, you know. So yeah, that's good stuff. And Chris, man, you are back, sir.
Yes, I survived the hurricane.
Oh no.
And
I was gonna, but so did you leave just because when you were sending me the messages, it didn't hit yet. I was just hearing that it was coming within like a day or two. So were you still there when it happened, or you were on your way out?
yeah, we got. So I was staying on Universal's property in the Aventura Hotel, and on Wednesday, like everything shut down. Like all the parks shut down. Orlando pretty much shut down. The airport closed, and the hotel told us we couldn't leave because it wasn't safe. So they actually, because the wind was so bad and it was causing the automatic doors in the lobby to just fly open, they locked all the doors. Like the only way you could leave was to go through the parking garage to physically get out. And they didn't want the liability. Basically, if you were checking out trying to beat the storm, then you weren't their problem, right? But since we were staying there, they're like, no, you got to stay here, and we got food and everything. Don't worry about it. But we were just stuck there, and then every TV had the freaking hurricane on, and man, it was like you see like Fort Myers and Punta Gorda and all these places like just leveled. It was bad. Orlando didn't get it that bad. We saw some trees blow over. It blew off a part of Jurassic World River Adventure. Like part of the building came off. The
Dino heads are going.
But the park wasn't too bad though. Like Friday they didn't open it either till at night. So at night you could go, but in the day it was still closed. And my flights got canceled, so I was only able to get out on Sunday. We were pretty safe. We didn't lose power. That was good. And we stayed with my aunt because I obviously went over my days. And she lost power and internet for a little while, and I came back. But I mean, some people got it bad. We saw like I was driving around, and you'd see trees like falling over. Like many of the stoplights didn't work. Plenty of the streets were just flooded, like completely flooded, where the cops were like, "No, just turn around. You can't drive through here." And so It was it was a little scary, but we got through it all right.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Fucked up your vacation, man.
Yeah, only a bit. Like I can't complain, right? I just was inconvenienced a few days. I just feel bad. Like the west side of Florida, like where it hit, was like bad. It was real bad.
Oh man, that sucks. But yeah, onto other things. Let's talk about some gaming. Some stuff happened.
Transitions.
That's a hard transition right there from gaming. Oh, by the way, no Brett action. He's also having some issues and stuff. Nothing life changing though. It's some sewage shit in his building. So, or excuse me, his house. You know. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. Anyway, let's get into it, man. The biggest news of the week happened today, literally. The Mario movie trailer came out. Yay! Yo, Carlos, I had my Miss Cleo moment too, man.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because when this movie was announced, and and we heard there was Chris Pratt, I'm like, watch him just do his own voice. He's not going to do anything. That's exactly what he did. He's just Chris Pratt. Hilarious. So yeah, what are your thoughts on? I don't really have any thoughts. You know how I feel about video game movies in general. I'm like, I don't care for this. So yeah, well, I don't know. Does anybody have any actual real thoughts? I legit don't give a fuck.
It's like, all right, Chris Pratt's playing Mario, and he's.
I didn't expect anything different. I figured if they just want his name on the movie,
Yeah, that's
right?
all it is. Yeah.
He's gonna be like, I'm not gonna try to imitate Charles Martinet or do a fake Italian accent. So, and they're probably like, all right, you're
Was
Chris
it
Pratt.
good? I didn't even bother watching.
He's just talking.
He's just talking.
He just says a couple of minutes of him talking.
He's not even trying to do like a New York accent. It's just Chris Pratt.
So he didn't. Well, he didn't go with hello, hi.
No, he's just like, oh, what's this?
Hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw that trailer, I tweeted out, is it more offensive to not have the stereotypical Italian accent, or is it more offensive to not have it? And since
I think
it's associated with Mario.
In the current climate, I think it's be offensive.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to get away with that. It's two things. You couldn't get away with that. If you have Chris Pratt, you want him to sound like Chris Pratt.
Yeah, it would. Someone would want to see the voice actor and be like, he better be off the boat. Man. He better be off the boat. And if it's Chris Pratt, then people will be up and.
I rather have someone. Just get Charles Martinet. Like why you can't
Someone
get him?
brought up a good point though. Could you hear that for 2 hours? You know what I'm saying?
Why is that movie 2 hours?
Because
it's a kids movie.
It's a 2022 movie. That's why.
No, come on, it's a kids movie. It's only going to be like an hour long.
Yeah, it's not going to be an hour. Yeah.
When is this coming out? When does this come out?
Let's check it out.
I think it's April next year.
Hey, it's a Mario.
It's more like, hey, it's me, Mario.
Yeah, that's right. A Mario.
A Mario.
A Mario.
Well, it's not as crazy as that Mario Luigi Super Mario movie, that horrible one with John Leguizamo, right? This is actually.
Oh my god! Well, this is animated. Yeah,
I mean,
completely, it's completely the games. It's everything looks as it should, and
nice.
Yeah.
All right, then it'll be all right. Is this going to theaters or streaming?
Yeah, theaters.
I will say this. The Mario movie was a heck of a bad movie, but I gotta give it to what's dude's name? Mario's name.
Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins. Bob Hoskins. Gotta give a shout out to Bob Hoskins because he didn't do a bad job of sort of representing how Mario looked. I'm like, I could believe you're Mario at least.
Well, I mean,
but,
he did his usual like Italian accent, like New York Italian accent. Like he was essentially playing Valiant from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Then his brother was Puerto Rican, which is hilarious.
Yeah, he's his half brother.
Yeah, half brother. Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing with Chris Pratt. Obviously, we know the reason why he's there, just to get his name on the thing. People, they don't even care how his voice sounds. But it would have been better with a different voice than Chris Pratt. Obviously, like Tony mentioned, the whole thing, if they use Charles Martinet, it can get annoying in a 2-hour movie. But man, I don't know. I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to listen
the
to Chris
French
Pratt.
movie is apparently going to have that voice You know, they had the French dub and sounded like Mario. You know, just wee Mario. You know, like, but you know, it still sounded right. You know.
So what about the Italian one? Does he actually sound like? Does he?
Oh,
Basta Gucci Mario. We can
It's
get
like-
Bowser.
It was like Chris Pratt gonna say it was like Mamma Mia.
Yeah, Mamma Mia.
He's probably gonna be like, "Mamma Mia, what's going on?
What's going on?
Come on, Rocket." Oh wait, wrong movie. You ever notice how like in that Guardians of the Galaxy game, the line that Star-Lord always says is "Come on, Rocket."
Yeah, come
he
on,
always
Rocket.
says it in that game.
It's hilarious.
I love how everyone's getting like hung up about the voice, whereas I'm over here just like, at least it actually looks like the source material for once.
well, that's what I always
It
that's
does,
my
it does,
thing.
yeah.
That's all I care about. As long as it's based off the games and not whatever the hell that other movie was based off of.
It's funny. It's funny. The one thing about that though is that how good Jack Black actually sounds because he's
did
actually
sound
playing
good.
a character.
Yeah,
Oh, what character is Jack Black?
he's Bowser.
He's Bowser.
Bowser,
He's
yeah.
Koopa.
That was much.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah,
Brian.
it's just that like, I don't know how long it's been where we have not seen a game movie that looks like the actual game, and it's weirdly refreshing. It's like finally something that looks like the source material after how many MCU movies, how many Netflix live action nonsenses, how many other movies that just look nothing like it, and it's like, oh, this actually looks like the game. It's like great. I think the last thing I can think of was the Sonic films. But even then, they
No,
weren't that
because-
close.
No,
Yeah.
you go with Ratchet and Clank. That movie.
Ratchet and
literally
Clank.
looked
Yeah,
exactly
that looks like the game. Yeah, there you go.
I kind of forgot that movie even existed. It was
But
that bland.
Brian, it does fit the criteria. It looks like the game. You know.
Well, that was pretty much the game.
And,
Yeah.
and,
Vice
and,
versa.
and it literally had the voices from the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe only one guy got like recast.
But
But even then, it just goes to show that like we just aren't living in an age where people respect the properties. So this is like, okay, like again, I'm happy that it looks like it. I can stand Chris Pratt. I don't mind his voice. It's not grating. So I'm just in the sense of it looks like the game. I can stand his voice, so I'm not too that fussed. You know, this is like to me, this is as close as we can get in this day and age to the actual material. So I am happy.
My biggest issue is, and you know, the whole thing with respecting the properties, and none of them respect. They're just going for cash grabs. The thing with Chris Pratt and his voice is, if I ever decide to watch this movie, I'm thinking if I hear Chris Pratt, like making that connection that Chris Pratt's voice is supposed to be what Mario sounds like, is going to be a huge hill to climb for me. I don't know.
Dubs versus subs, man, or subs versus subs, right? Like
That's why I'm getting.
Yeah,
That's why you're getting the Japanese version of this.
I'm getting the Japanese dub.
there you go.
And if we want to talk about true to source material, Mario is a Japanese character.
Well, he's never spoke Japanese.
Yeah, he's never done that.
Oh, actually, no,
Has
he
he?
did. He had
Sotoro Mario
They
that-
did make a series in Japanese.
But yeah, you know, I'm a stickler for voice acting, so you know, I didn't have too high expectations. Jack Black did sound really good. I did like the penguin scene. I thought that was pretty funny. But other than
That
that,
was kind of corny, but then it's a kids movie, so what did I expect?
Yeah.
I was like, what is that? They're throwing fucking snowballs, really? That's what we're doing? But, you know, again, I'm not the target audience, so I can't really say much, you know?
It was fun that they played it serious though, like they were actually doing something.
yeah.
But she could have thrown ice blocks instead of snow, but even if they actually wanted to try to hurt him. But again, I'm an adult. I can't be nitpicking this shit. It's unfair, you know.
They're not gonna go anywhere near brutal in this movie.
No, they're not,
When it comes
you
to
know.
the action and all that stuff.
So my question is, probably okay. Will they change Mario's voice in the games moving forward? Like
They might. Maybe this is the whole point. They were like, "How do we expand on Mario?" Well, we have to
how
start
do we
giving
get rid of
dialogue.
that-
Who's never done that?
How do
We've
we
never
get rid
done
of that
that.
toxic accent? You
Yeah.
know?
So that's it,
They're-
and this will be it.
They're by the way, and Chris is gonna back me up in this. They're definitely not, because there's no fucking way Nintendo's gonna pay for Chris Pratt in their video games.
But they may get a sound.
The
guy from
Guardians.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, there you go.
Come on, Rocket.
That's it. That's how they'll do it.
So yeah, so I guess it's not really will they get Chris Pratt? It's will they change Mario's voice in the games?
I think so.
I don't think they ever will. Charles Martinet is like the lifetime voice of Mario. He'll do it till he dies.
Yeah. Well, remember what happened with with Apu, right? So you never know.
Well,
what happened to
that
Apu?
was
They changed him too.
They got rid of him.
they got rid of the character. But that's Japan is not having the same type of issues, right? Yeah. Cultural issues that we are. So they're not going to change it. And remember, I always tell you, Nintendo is very adverse to change. They agreed to this because of the star power versus him getting the voice accurate. Like, I'm sure the discussions initially was Charles Martinet is the voice of Mario, and then Illumination went, wait a minute, you want to sell this movie, you need a bigger name in the lead. That's the lead character. So you get Chris Pratt, right? And he comes into, and they agree to. There has to be compromise in there. But I'm sure Miyamoto had his hands in everything visual, like how everything looked, how every character looks. Even the texture on the mushrooms.
They need to.
Yeah, so especially after the Bob Hoskins movie, he's not going to let anything pass scrutiny, but that he'll let pass. But with the games, it'll always be Charles Martinet. They always have him be the voice.
I mean, Miyamoto said he liked him.
Cool guy.
That's why you chose him.
I do remember them. I think it was prior to this. They're saying, "Oh yeah, we worked hard to develop a Mario voice for this movie." No, they didn't. No, they didn't. It's just Chris Pratt.
I just called up Chris Pratt. All right, play yourself, just not as stupid as you are in Lego Movie. There you go.
Do that.
I
don't know. All right. Any other thoughts on this?
Press start to play.
Hey, Mario. Hey.
I mean, actually, no. Press start to play.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my god. All right. So for the rest of the show until like the final story, nothing but PlayStation. Get ready.
What? What's going on?
The pony down.
The pony.
The pony down.
Tony, why you always talk about Sony? You don't talk about Xbox.
Because you're a pony.
You're a pony. You know? Oh shit, they got garbage on there. You see that, baby?
Yeah, they're doing the work.
All right, so anyway, let's get into it. First up here, PlayStation games will wait at least a year before their PC release, except for live service games. Miss Cleo moment again, Carlos.
Yo, man, I told everyone that's the only way that day-and-date games are going to, or at least the first version of day-and-date games coming out to PC is those live service games. Because they're not good. First of all, they're not good at making them. And second of all, they need all the heads they can get.
You gotta strike when it comes to those service games. You gotta strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah.
And you can't just let that float in the air. Once you release that game, you gotta have it everywhere, right? You gotta make sure you have if it becomes one of those hot things, people are started talking about it. Like, all right, so now we gotta go jump on that, right?
Hilariously, that's exactly what that says right here.
Exactly.
I'll read this. I think this from Herman Holtz. I think going forward, we'll see at least a year between releases on PlayStation and the PC platform, possibly with the exception of live service games. And then he went on to say, live service games are a little bit different in nature because you want to have a strong community, strong engagement right away, right when you go live. So we might, in the case of our live service offerings, go day and day with PC and the PlayStation platform. Yep, that makes sense. You got to. Again, strike while the iron's hot.
This is all stuff that makes sense with them in general.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why? Again, are people buying these games 2 or 1 year later after all the DLC and all the other stuff is already done? No, they're not.
Yeah. So what you do is you just give it a second life.
Yeah.
On PC. Although not surprising. Some PlayStation hardcore guys very upset about this. I'm not gonna name any names. But one guy specifically made a video talking about how PlayStation is no longer special, you know. And then he says, "Oh, look what happens! You copied Xbox. Now look at this shit." Very upset that the games are coming to PC a year later.
It doesn't affect his playing because again, like, what wouldn't you want your chosen company to be able to continue to make money and continue to make?
They're not seeing it that way. They go, I have these games. I'm going to use them as ammo against the enemy, which is the Xbox. I don't have that anymore, so I'm upset. Because think about it, what Sony's doing now is kind of similar to Xbox. It's the same thing these fanboys were making fun of Xbox guys for. Yeah. Now it's happening at PlayStation.
Again, like
who gives a?
It's not, to be honest, it doesn't matter. It's not something, you know. It doesn't really matter.
They don't like sharing their toys. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Yeah, and console wars, like they don't have that ammo anymore. Fucking dumb.
I mean, it's weird, like, cause like even like I wouldn't like. Let's say they did this years ago, PlayStation 2 era, right? And you saw all those PlayStation classic games on the new console on the PC. At least at the time I wouldn't think of it any crazy either. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's stupidity.
It's
By the way, I'm pretty sure if Brett was here, this is fucked up. They should do this day one. Sony's fucking up. You know?
No, to be honest, I think in general they still hold their main box as in the highest esteem. Otherwise, if they're gonna throw a monkey wrench into their business plan, they'd have to change their business plan to something similar to what Xbox has. So where PlayStation is a service and not really just a console. There is a console, but it's not connected. You know, it's not the end all be all of those things.
I don't see the problem here. Game comes out, runs its course. Then it comes to PC. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
Almost all their games they've already announced, from the Uncharted to The Last of Us, of course, the Spider-Man Miles. Those are all already been greenlit. They're out there now. You can pre-order these things.
So yeah,
happening.
And then for guys like me and Adam, we're like, hey, we get to play them a year later and on Steam Deck. This is great.
Exactly. You did put that the dockies out on it.
Yeah. I saw that. We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
I'm very happy about that.
I'm on the list. You got on the list?
Thank you for get to the list.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
I gotta get on that list. Yeah, go ahead, Brian. What's up?
I guess with that, it kind of comes with the question of, are they now PlayStation exclusives anymore or not?
They're still PlayStation exclusives.
For a console exclusive, Brian.
See, that's kind of the thing, though. Like, because if we say that Xbox has no real exclusives because they're on PC, does it mean that PlayStation will have no real exclusives since they're coming to PC?
Exactly. And maybe that's the other part of it that folks don't like, the fact that they can't actually say that they have exclusives anymore, because eventually all those titles that they are all going to eventually come to PC.
But Brian, you see the irony, right? Like, PlayStation guys for years making fun of Xbox guys. You have no games, they're coming to PC. You have no games. Now the PlayStation games are coming to PC. What's up? It's the same situation, you know?
And anytime someone preaches a whole bunch of talking points and one of those talking points becomes null and void, then their feelings get hurt.
You know? And that's what you've seen on Twitter. It's hilarious to me, you know? Again, I personally want the games to come out day and date, not for myself, but to see the fanboys cry, you know? Fucking idiots, man. But it's a good thing. Again, remember, Sony, what is their main thing? Selling PlayStation consoles. So they don't want to fuck that up. I get that. But they also want to make money.
They have to make some money from the older titles.
So there you go. Again, this makes sense to me. You release a game, then a year later you put it on PC. Perfect.
Sure, a year later, years later.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about in this new model. You know.
Okay.
Well, he hasn't officially said what the new model.
No, he didn't say that yet.
He said, "I can see that happening." He still hasn't given it a full on pin and said we're doing this. But he's saying he can see that.
He doesn't want to upset Jim Ryan, you know. We're gonna talk about upset Jim Ryan a little bit.
Too upset. He needs to relax. Embarrassing himself.
One other thing I'd like to say about this, as far as preservation, this is actually really good for preservation. As we know, Sony hasn't been very good at preservation because they had to literally hire a guy to be an archivist of all of their games.
Yeah.
So obviously means that they haven't been doing an effective job at preserving their titles. So at least in this situation, as far as the PC gaming space in general, people can keep those games going, and if they, and it runs on a PC. So if it runs on a PC, you can eventually get it to run on a newer console, can't you?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, think about it. There's games that you could play from PC that came out decades ago.
Yeah.
That's preservation right there,
Yeah, so.
Because Sony's not preserving their games.
Yeah,
So.
because they're not really preserving their games. You can obviously see that now in the lackluster way that they're doing they're preserving their PlayStation 3 library, which is not at all literally running it over a friggin' wire. Come on, guys! Like seriously, just put some work into this shit and get it to work, and then that library of stuff that you have sitting on the internet, and you can just literally close down your old dumb PlayStation 3 store, and there you go.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Anyway.
All right, any last thoughts on this? PlayStation games coming to PC a year later?
No.
All right. Nope. All right, move on. More PlayStation stuff. So related. PlayStation eyes new investment for PC and mobile push. So again, they want to get into these spaces, And again, I don't see I don't understand why people should be upset. Again, if you're a fan of PlayStation, why wouldn't you want them to make more money so they can make more games for you? But people don't want that. They don't want to share. So okay, again, Herman Hulse was busy this week, wasn't he? Shit. So he talking about PC and mobile. He goes, further investments in areas that will strengthen the expansion onto PC, into mobile, and into live services. That's definitely a possibility for us. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I wonder if because obviously you can't have like a real game running on like a phone or something. I wonder if they're gonna have like specific phone games or something.
I mean,
like what Ubisoft is doing with all theirs?
I guess.
I mean, they could. I mean, there are actually mobile phone games that are released through the PlayStation Studios.
Yeah.
So, but they're exclusive to the phone. So, but they're those cheesy runner games and stuff like that.
Yeah, cheap shit. Yeah. That's what I'm wondering. Like, what are they gonna get? Like, gonna get the Last of Us runner game or something?
Just figure out. I guess. Try to get some new titles working on there.
Uncharted Connect 3 or whatever the fuck that shit's called. Bullshit mobile
Golden
games.
Abyss running on an iPad.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, not surprised there by all that. What else is going on with PlayStation? This one, very upsetting. So PlayStation, Sony said they're going to still make PS4 games.
No, when's the cutoff?
When's the cutoff? We got to stop this shit. Like, come on now, But here's the thing, because this is the part I want to stress, right? Everybody is taking this as they're going to keep making cross-gen games. Sony didn't say that. They said they're going to keep making PS4 games, right? So, and this is just my hope. They'll make some PlayStation 4 games, but then they'll actually make PS5 games that only run on PS5.
Like they're not porting backward.
Because obviously, whatever
exclusive to PS4.
Yeah, because whatever PS4 game comes out will run on PS5, obviously. But I also want it to just be. We need more games like Ratchet and Clank and Returnal, where it's just you can only play them on that system. But so yeah, they said they're gonna just keep supporting PS4 for a while. They didn't give a time date, but
they're using it like the PlayStation 2. Like the PlayStation 2 back in the day. Essentially, it's still the most popular console, has the most install base, and obviously they don't want to lose any of that stuff. So that's what they're doing. They're essentially leaving the door open until they're ready to close it. And especially now, since we're in this recession going on, a lot like what happened during the PlayStation 3 era.
That's right.
When did the
PlayStation 3 really hit it?
Remember, that was a running joke, like for 3 or 4 years at the PlayStation 3 events or whatever. What would you always see? PlayStation 2. You know, Chris, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say that the statement from them shouldn't be like, "We'll continue to make PS4 games." What they should do is say, "We will continue to support the development of PS4 games,"
Yeah.
right? So that third parties who are interested can you can keep making games like, but Sony themselves should be entirely focused on PS5. Like they should not. It's like, okay, third party guys always need support. You need those dev kits to be updated and whatnot. Yes, continue to support that, and that should be the messaging. Like, we will support you if you want to make a PS4 game. You can go ahead and continue making those. We will not be making those, though.
Yeah.
Like that should, but it's not the mess. So I don't know.
I also think that whole narrative of, oh, we got to make games for PlayStation 4 because the install base is larger is BS, right?
It was always, it's going to take a long time for.
No, I mean, think about it like this, right? When Miles Morales first came out, right? Remember, PlayStation 5 had sold 1 million or 2 tops, right? It was selling more on PlayStation 5.
Well,
There's 100 million PlayStation 4s. Nobody bought the game on PS4. You know, everybody. Manny's the only guy. So it's like, so I you know, and so that to me is kind of BS. You know, like people want to buy it on the PS5. So I don't miss me with that bullshit. You know.
No, I still think that they don't want to let go of it. And then to be honest, like if you think about it, you can how much is it to develop a PlayStation 4 game and then just toss a patch on top of it to make it run a little bit better on a 5?
Yeah. I don't know, but we need a cutoff point. Come on, guys. Fuck, are we doing here? All right, so moving on here. All right, we got to talk about Jim Ryan. So apparently, Jim Ryan flew to Brussels to appeal Microsoft Call of Duty deal in person. Damn, my man,
Here was something that they clarified. Even that people seem to understand. This is not to block the sale. They can't do that. This is just to appeal adjustment. This is to appeal to make adjustments. They can't deny. They can't say, "Oh, this company can't sell to this one," especially if it's an American. You can't do it. So this is just to make adjustments and maybe say, "Oh well, honor this. We're not going to expect to sell those." That type of deal. So I don't know.
You may need to do another.
Yes, I don't know.
FM. You know. So yeah, it says that Ryan flew to Europe on the 8th of September to meet with regulators and express his concerns face to face. So obviously, like you said, he can't really stop it, but he wanted to express his concerns. So he's very, very upset about this. Obviously, that he's going so far as to traveling to other countries and shit. You know.
If Sony had the money and they went and bought it, he wouldn't be so upset. Yeah. They just didn't have it.
This is interesting. So representatives of Google, also expressed concerns. Why did they say owner of Stadia? Stadia's fucking dead, Eurogamer. Why are you bringing it up?
Well, that's,
the owners of Stadia, does that mean that what's his face showed up there? What's his face? Not Howard. What the fuck's that guy's name?
Who?
The guy who's head of Stadia.
Oh, Phil Harrison.
Phil Harrison showed up to support his good buddy Jim Ryan. He's like, Jim is right. There's totally it's totally wrong. They shouldn't do this.
Oh, this is interesting. So days after the meeting, Ryan's meeting, the UK's Competition and Markets Authority announced it would further investigate Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Damn. So maybe he got something rolling. Who knows? But we heard it, Adam. You know this too. Like that, Brazil approved it already.
Yeah, a few locations actually approved it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's sending his people around to try to slow this thing down. Oh.
Yeah, and then obviously we got to tie it back with Jim Ryan's other thing about how the deal that they made with Xbox to keep the games going for 3 more years after the Activision deal was inadequate. Because he wants to just keep Call of Duty on there forever,
Well, number one, it's like, who did you think that this was going to last forever, buddy?
Yeah.
Because and he should also realize this wasn't a deal that he signed. This was a deal that the previous regime signed.
Yep.
So again, he's living on like all of his legacy is all based off of whatever the previous people did, and it looks like he doesn't want to let go or essentially, try to essentially push new things through.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the deal that they have now is between them and Xbox, obviously. So that's like their own Activision before.
Yeah. It's petty, but then I saw that even that listing, the report that Microsoft. Do I sound different? I turned it off.
Yeah, no, you sound better now. You don't.
All right, I just turned it off. Maybe there's like a delay latency when it adds the effect.
Yeah, you're just cutting out like every other word was like cut out.
Yeah, and I'm not doing anything on the PC. That's the only thing running. So anyway, but when Microsoft even released it, was like, hey, there's we're not even the top two when it comes to gaming itself. It's PlayStation and Nintendo. We're a third tier on this, so why they're coming after us as if we're like the market leader and now we're
the richest?
He's afraid of the same thing happening currently. In other words, being that everybody knows that Microsoft has it, it essentially means that people will be more.
Oh no! I know, but this was from Microsoft. This is on their page. Remember that report that they posted. Just explain. They said it was like, hey,
they released a report explaining all this.
Yeah, they're like, we're not even in the top two right now. We're third tier. So I mean, what the hell? They got their first party games. And they sell very well. Both of them.
Yeah.
So.
Although it's a little disingenuous for Microsoft to be crying like that when they're fucking richer than both of those companies.
Well, I don't think it's crying so much. I think it's just pointing out the facts. It's true. They're not.
Oh no, in terms of gaming, they're the third place. But it's still Microsoft, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, the biggest concern that I've seen when they were talking about with the EU and all that was not even with Call of Duty. It was WoW. And with the online service of Game Pass. And I guess the way the Google explaining it, it's like, hey, we lost because the way Game Pass is dominating. And if they have all these other big studios, then we'll never have any other streaming services available because all the games are going to be exclusive in regards to streaming stuff over on Game Pass. I guess they're in a weird way blaming Game Pass for their failures when that's not even it. You're charging $60 a pop for games. Come on now.
Nobody was ever going to choose them with their prices.
Nobody was going to do it. Nobody was going to do it.
Right.
So why do you defend Microsoft so much, Adam? Well,
I'm not defending any of them. I'm not defending any of them.
You said earlier. You said we is trying.
No, we as in his person, in his words, when they wrote the report.
I don't know, man. I'm starting to think that you're under the payroll.
Oh.
Well, he did go back to Xbox.
Dutch is watching. Dutch is watching. He can't say anything negative.
Dutch is holding him hostage. Adam, your voice was cutting off for a reason, and I think that's Dutch.
Make up your mind between Dutch and Hugo. You guys, I don't understand.
Dutch and Hugo.
Yeah.
Remember
you were like, oh, it's all about Hugo. It's all about Hugo.
I realize that.
Yeah. No, they call it Sonic Blue.
Oh, okay.
You know. All right. Blizz, what's going on, brother? Adam Spencer. Adam Spencer.
That sounds like a video game character.
It does, doesn't it? You know, like Adam. Yeah.
I'm Adam Spencer.
Like a late 2000s character, you know, like Watch Dogs or Prototype, you know, those type of guys. Alex Mercer, Aiden Pierce, you know, Adam Spencer. It's the same deal, you know.
It's always one. It's like two syllables. Adam Spencer.
Yeah, 4 syllables. Good stuff.
Aiden Pierce. Oh, that's
Aiden Pierce. Yeah, that's 3. Yeah. Aiden Ryan. All right. Did you guys ever talk about the GTA leaker? Yeah, we talked about that shit on the last episode, you know? Yeah.
Did he get jail time? What's up with that?
We didn't talk about the identity. We didn't know about that. We just know he's a 17-year-old kid, you know?
He says he's part of a group. That's all I heard.
Yeah, we talked about that in the show.
And from the UK, right? I think that's...
Yeah, because he was like, don't, I want to be the fall guy for this. There's others involved.
Yeah, like, oh, fuck, get them guys too. They're called the Bullocks or something. I don't know. I've been making that shit up.
The Bullocks.
You know? No, it's not a rumor. It's real, Pig Dan. They caught the guy, and then he was like, "Yo, these motherfuckers, man, get them too."
Yeah.
You know?
He pleaded not guilty. Not guilty.
They made.
Hey, listen, I just play the games. I don't hack it.
I mean, you think about it. Let's say if he was, they created the
Yo,
code
you know
or
he
whatever,
snitched on all those
then-
motherfuckers, man.
and they saw his connection. It was his IP that they tracked.
Yeah,
But
he's like, oh,
there
shit.
could be others.
Whatever happened to honor among thieves?
Like, hey, Rory, man, that router you let me, it led them to me and shit,
Yeah, right.
It wasn't, and then he's like, it wasn't me, it was Nigel.
It wasn't me. It was Nigel.
You know those British names and shit? Motherfuckers always named Rory and Nigel and shit,
It was Nigel.
Well-
Why did he do that?
Yeah, why did he do that?
yeah.
Oh, it wasn't me, it was Nigel.
There's Liam.
IT crowd.
It was Leo.
Yeah. Only reason why I'm doing that voice because I watched that movie. The Bad Guys, and he's the villain.
Yeah, that's the IT crowd, dude.
It's like,
That was the guy
what
from
am I
IT.
doing here? The laws of the internet.
Yeah. Oh, that dude. He's
Top of Big
hilarious.
Oh,
He
man.
is hilarious.
All right, man. Good stuff. All right, now, speaking the Segway Kings, man. We got to talk about the PS5 being jailbroken, man.
Oh, they did it.
They did it, man.
Yeah.
Some motherfucker did it.
Yeah.
Adam, go ahead. I'm pretty sure you've all over this shit.
It happens.
Like,
we knew
let's go.
we knew it was going to happen. They did it with the other one too. It's really just comes down to from where you're on, and of course they'll patch it. I don't know. It sucks, but they caught it early in, and just like because this happened also on the PS4, they did the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm
remember they were
not that
trying to
concerned.
jailbreak that shit.
Yeah, but that was easier. I mean, out of all the ones that took forever, is the PS3. PS3 is still a pain in the ass, even if you can get some of the to work. They run like booty. So PS2 that runs great. The PS4 ones, I've seen some of those. Those are pretty solid. And then now it is PS5. But like we said, there's little exclusives. So
Yeah.
it's like, all right, well, you jailbroke it to run emulation of other consoles. So.
That's what I'm saying. It kind of makes no sense for this console.
It's great. I know what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of these pop up on eBay with that firmware, and people will buy them. That's what they did with the PS4. People buying, and same thing with the Vita. Remember, there was a certain version. If you didn't have if you had that one running on it, yeah, they'll sell it and they'll put games or whatever on it. And we'll see. But it's so early. Like we said, there's really nothing out that's a standout title for a PS5 right now. I can understand if there was like a handful of really good ones, like, oh man, no one's gonna want to buy it if they can do this. It's not available. It's still early, so we'll see. But it's not a good look because that means that there's always going to be another one. They found a way, and hopefully on the Sony end they'll figure out a way to stop it. It's too early in the life cycle for something like this to happen. Because
Adam froze. Either that or he's. Oh, there he is. You're back. There you go.
Oh, see, then I don't know. Then maybe something else.
I don't think it's your mic. I think it's your connection that's fucking up, man.
Yeah,
I think it's you.
Because it looked like you were you stopped and looked like you were just contemplating Dutch or something,
He's like, no.
Like, man, that is a beautiful console. You know how many games I got on that shit?
Well, think about this. Adam was messing around with the settings on the mic. I don't think it's a coincidence that it's just the first day out of the year where his mic started going off and doing different tangents. Either that or Dutch, man. It could be one of those.
Maybe he got best with one of his boys. Like, yo, we playing Gears.
We're getting the bang.
Oh man, the FTC tapped that they're coming.
Oh,
they're still after me, right? According to the fucking internet, hilarious. All right, I don't have this in the show notes, but Brian did speak about it. We gotta talk about that Need for Speed trailer, man. What the fuck?
What did they do?
Wait,
damn, I forgot the loop. I didn't see that either.
So they released a trailer for Need for Speed Unbound. That's the new game, and it looks like a CG cartoon. Like, oh my god, I forget the name of the technique where like you make 3D things look like cartoons with the outline.
Cell shaded.
Cell shaded. It's a cell shaded Need for Speed. I don't understand why they did that.
Why they did a style change?
Yeah, I don't get it. So Brian, what are your thoughts? I know you're the Need for Speed guy here.
I'm the exact same boat as you, Tony. I just don't know why. I can understand why they would want a style change because the last couple have all been kind of like pushing, like, oh, let's go down the realism route and blah blah blah. But I don't know, the style just seems slightly off, and I don't know. It's kind of like they thought, okay, let's go down the cel shaded route with some stuff, but then the cars kind of still look realistic. So hence it just looks slightly odd.
And like the humans are cel shaded, but the cars are not.
So is this like the continuation of that pay whatever was?
No, it's a
what
new
was
game.
That one?
It's a new game.
Because remember, so
Payday, right? Is that what you're talking
Payday,
about?
was that it? Yeah, was that it?
Yeah, no,
I know
Payday's a shooting game.
No.
You're right. But there is. Remember? Oh, by the way, Need for Speed. Remember that in 2015 or something? That was the FMV game. Weird stuff, man.
Is this franchise still like relevant? I might be out of touch with.
Because every time I think it's done, they come out with a new game.
And it's never the one we want.
Yeah.
Why can't they just do another Burnout? They know people want that.
That's what I really want.
Remasters and it sells. They put it on every other platform. So clearly, people that want it, there's an interest. So then bring that shit back.
Yeah, we're hearing some weird stuff outside. So, go ahead, Brian. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this.
I'm right there with you, Tony. It looks odd, but I'm intrigued. I'm like, okay, cool. It looks different, so it has my attention. So let's actually see what is different about the game, or is it just all the same stuff? Because if it's pretty much a carbon copy of Need for Speed Heat, which was pretty much a carbon copy of, I think it was Payback or something, or Pay Something, like the one before that. The one that I got the platinum in. So if it's just like
a carbon copy of Need for Speed Carbon.
I wish they would.
The one that you can get out of the car and start running, and they had some quick time events. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, that's one that Torrance liked.
Yeah. Oh my God, that game. They tried some weird stuff with Need for Speed. It's like I just want to race. And Brian, that's the thing that kind of weirds me out about this. Like, I know that because I don't like all that fucking bullshit. I mean, I like the cel shading. I just like the stupid, like, modern hip hop shit they got going on. But I know the racing's gonna be fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the thing that got my interest is I seen they had cop cars. So I instantly thought, okay, cool, cop cars, which means that there's a chance for cop chases. So Need for Speed the Run. That was the one that Torrance liked. Yeah. Or as I called it, Need for Speed the Runs. There we go.
That's a Richard Bailey thing right there. I call it the runs.
Yes.
But yeah, it just seems off. And again, I seen police cars and I thought, okay, police chases, which means that going back to like the underground most wanted days, but they had the same thing with Payback where they had police cars, but there weren't really chases. So I feel like it'll just be a case of it's just looks different, but ultimately it's just the same Need for Speed Payback or that we've had, and it just won't be all that great. And I think that Need for Speed games may need to be put down because it's been years since I've enjoyed a single one. I mean, like the last one I've truly enjoyed was Most Wanted back in 2005.
Oh shit! You mean the one that got remade a bunch of million? The Criterion one, right? 2005
no,
the PS2 game.
Yeah,
that was a great
the OG
game.
Most Wanted.
That was
I agree with that
game.
one.
Yeah,
I love that game.
Great fucking game. Yeah, Most Wanted 2 as well, man.
Yeah, they should like bring like all those ideas that they had so many good ideas. You had like pursuit breakers. You had police chases that would escalate. You got like cool things that would happen. But now it just seems like they're not trying anything. They're just wanting to be as safe as possible. Just keep everything easy and simple, and that's it. Like, no, give us interesting things. Like, they've had like 25 games. Make something interesting rather than just the same nonsense.
All shading, though,
I don't know. Again, I will see how this goes. Yeah. I was on the plus side, it's coming out on all, at least on PC, it's on all the thingamajigs at the same time. So Epic Games, Steam, and EA. So that's nice. And
Not
I
on
don't
Stadia
think
though.
Get that Stadia on.
Yeah, done, son. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it's not on last gen.
Good. About fucking time, you know. We need to see more of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sony could have had a new Motorstorm, but they chose otherwise. Oh, I don't think that studio exists anymore, does it?
Nope, studio died after Drive Club.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a damn shame. All right.
I have an off-topic question.
Go ahead.
Oh, have you got
off-comment
what?
question?
Well, it was going to be a non-gaming related question because I thought this was the last topic.
No. We still got
one more.
One more thing. We got to talk about Cyberpunk. More good Cyberpunk news.
What is this? Are we doing a flip flop and we just talking about good Cyberpunk news?
Yeah, because remember, it's like every week was like bad Cyberpunk news for like a year or two. Now it's like good news for this is the third week in a row. You just saw. Anyway, they officially announced that a sequel is in the works. And they were very quick to say this is going to take advantage of next-gen technologies, you know?
Whoa.
They learned their lesson. No more of that cross-gen shit. But my thing is, like, this game is going to be so far, it might even be a PS6 game, right? You know?
Well, they actually did a really big roadmap of a lot of their titles. When the new Witchers are going to be coming. This is what was it? Well, this one's called
Project Orion.
Cyberpunk 2077 Orion.
Yeah.
So.
We got that. We got The Witcher Polaris, The Witcher Canis Majoris, and The Witcher Sirius.
And they've also
Witcher Hadar.
And The Witcher Artemis Maximus.
Damn, it's like fuck.
And then the thing is that
Maximus Decimus Meridius.
What they're doing is that they're actually splitting up the development of the Cyberpunk games to a new studio that's in the United States.
Interesting.
CD Projekt Red Boston.
Brian,
I was say the same thing, Tony.
Yeah, that part bothers me. Remember what we talked about last week? I think the reason that game was so ballsy was because of you got a bunch of crazy European guys doing it. You got these, wishy-washy American dudes. I don't know, man.
Yeah. They also bought a new studio which develops like sort of mobile games, so they're looking to get into the sort of mobile space and make sort of smaller titles to sort of fill in spaces between their big ones. So sort of like what most of the big consoles are doing. They have a little independent studio in there to sort of fill in the space, and then between their big titles. And I can't remember what else, but that's what and they also said they're moving to Unreal for this one.
No more Red Engine.
No more Red Engine. So this is probably going to be the fulfillment of a lot of the things that they sort of promised from the original version of 2077, which had like multiplayer and all kinds of other stuff. I mean, there's also a good chance that maybe Orion might even be an online mode, but that's just speculation on my end.
Yeah, who knows? That part about the American team kind of bugs me.
Yeah, and then they're going to have a bunch of their, essentially splitting a bunch of their teams too. A lot of their leads are going over to the United States. Yeah. To do it.
Well, we'll see, but I'm glad they are at least making a full-on sequel. So I read today The Witcher 4. They said it's 3 years away. So this thing, who knows when the hell it's going to land.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, like again, it's going to be another studio developing it at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
But I think they learned their lesson now. No, they're not going to rush it. They're going to release it just how
let's hope it doesn't take 10 years like this game did.
Yeah, exactly. Brian, getting here, I know you got thoughts about CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, on the one hand, again, like with you guys, I'm happy that they are actually trying to do cool stuff. It's like, okay, they have announced sequel to some cool games. They also mentioned that the Witcher games will be like a new trilogy of games. So I'm kind of like, okay, that's good. But at the same time, if you're already planning out 3 games in advance, then it kind of ruins like the first couple of games. Then it's like, okay, like how much effort are you going to put into the first game, knowing that there'll be game 2 and 3 in the pipeline?
other thing that they also mentioned a part of this is that they've done a larger partnership with Unreal to sort of help them develop tools to make open world games a lot easier to build on there. If you remember a certain Days Gone game that had a lot of issues, so they're trying to mitigate a lot of those issues with the creation of those sort of open world RPG sort of titles.
That's good.
Special tools for it. Oh, ouch.
That's good. Yeah, again, you gotta praise them whenever they do good stuff. The thing that was of note is the unannounced new IP that they're working on, which I really like the sound of, because then it's like, okay, they are supporting current franchises that people like, but also making new IPs on like other studios, which just remake the same game from like 4 years ago and charge you $70. And I'm not talking about The Last of Us.
Yeah, we talked about that
last
week.
EA.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We will talk about. That's gonna be the next topic. Fuck that. We gotta talk about that.
So good on them, CD Projekt Red. I hope they deliver because they should deliver.
It's good. You know, let's just talk about it. Dead Space remake $70. Really? We're doing this
Well, isn't it completely redone though? They said it was a complete remake. It wasn't like a touch up or anything. I thought this was.
It's not a touch up. This one.
Yeah, this is a big deal. This is.
But I will say this though,
adding characters.
Yeah, but I'm kind of upset about it. But I will say that just for the sake of consistency, right? Because I did say I wouldn't be as upset with the Last of Us remake if it was a PS3 game that you couldn't play on PS5. That's actually the case with Dead Space. You can't play that game on at all. There's no PS4 version of that game. So, Brian, you know how I feel about the $70 games, but at the same time, motherfuckers can't play this on PS5.
It fits your sort of criteria.
It does, yeah.
But
and it's actually adding in new things. So
yeah, it's new things. It's all.
But then at the same time, the thing that gets me is Callisto Protocol comes out like a month before this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like, so we have the Dead Space team making a Dead Space-esque game, and then followed by a remake of OG Dead Space afterwards. It's like,
and this is my issue now. Are people just all hyped up with Protocol because of that? Because if they do care, then why did they hate on Dead Space 3? Dead Space 3 was a good game, and everyone acts as if that
game was fucking trash, dude.
It's the same studio, though.
No, but it was still bad. It doesn't matter if it's
a lot of that game suffered from
the Frostbite fucked things up, and the microtransactions and all that.
You say that,
but and the co-op. That game had a lot of bad things with it.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like people are like, oh well, that had a bunch of issues. Okay, well, it's the same studio that's doing this one, so
it's the same studio, but minus
what is the problem?
But minus EA making demands on them.
But that was a game. Everybody wanted a co-op experience with this.
I did. Dead Space is a single-player game. Don't fuck it up with co-op.
We were already seeing that with other games that were coming out. We had Gears that was doing.
Yeah, they fucked it up. It shouldn't do that. It shouldn't have done that.
We had a lot of games at the time that happened. That was the hard thing to do.
But you just proved Manny's point. It was an EA mandate. Put co-op in this.
Yeah, put co-op and multiplayer.
No, but the community, the community wanted it though. That's the
Dead Space community wanted it.
Dead Space. Yes, because if you looked at
I was part of that community. I didn't want that shit.
You didn't want it, but you don't even like doing co-op with anybody. Remember?
I do like co-op, but I don't like co-op in Dead Space.
Yeah, to be honest, it ruins.
Yeah, it ruins it.
The fear factor of the game.
No. Then I guess you guys didn't play it. If you didn't play, because
I did play it. I reviewed it.
You get divided. You get put in different.
Yeah, but I'm not. When I play Dead Space, I'm not trying to do co-op. I want it to be a solo experience. That Dead Space 2 was a shitty fucking game.
I think a lot of the mandates on that sort of ruined. What was the Dead
Space.
Microtransactions
too. That was another part of it.
If you were like, then you're turning it into a totally different game.
The only thing I hated from 2 and 3 was just all the crafting. I didn't like doing all the crafting. I felt it was just too time consuming.
They went really hard with the crafting in 3. Yeah, and they wanted you to buy extra items. I
didn't like that. But they were already doing that even before that. They were doing suits and stuff you had to buy. You couldn't just find the suit. So
Well, in
it's
general, I don't like crafting in games. Period. You know how I feel about that.
yeah. So
You
that's
know?
what I'm saying. It's like I expect it to be solid, but people need to also can't just pick and choose what you want to remember about the other ones. I'm like, yeah, those are good ones. What about them? Well, let's not talk about that. Well, we have to because that was the most recent one from them. I can understand if their first game was Dead Space 3 and then they started fixing things up and then it wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, but the way I say they have 2 out of 3 great games, so
I say
chance.
3 out of 3. To me, 3 out of 3.
Okay, so there you go. For me, it's the first 2, especially 1, fucking incredible, right? 2 was really, really good, and then 3 was a piece of crap. But I think they've learned their lesson. They're not going to repeat 3.
To be honest, I think that what they're going for is they're going for what the original idea of what the Dead Space franchise was. They're not, again, I feel like a lot of studio mandates, and obviously if the studio says, hey, we want to have this in there, you can't be like, no, that's not our game.
Yeah.
Who's publishing this one?
Callisto Protocol?
Yeah.
It might actually be them that's doing it, but
I'm not sure. But Brian, to answer a question you didn't ask, I'm going to get Callisto Protocol over Dead Space. I'll play Dead Space, eventually, but I'm not paying $70 for that shit. I'll tell you that right now,
Buy the cheap piece.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah, right, Brian, is getting on PC.
But yeah, I am totally with you, and I just looked at it now, and it's $60 on Steam.
See,
so hence it's like
It'll be
you
cheaper.
get
that's
the
what it
OG
is
team,
now, Brian. You already know what's up, man.
you get like the OG Dead Space team making their vision of the game. So it's like, okay, let's actually see what they wanted to do without EA's grubby hands just infecting stuff.
Yeah.
The publisher is Krafton Inc.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them.
Press the craft on.
The South Korean headquarters.
Yeah, we like South Korea. We're cool with them,
Yeah, they're cool. They import. We import all their music.
Yeah, right. Oh man,
I find that fascinating how South Korean or K-pop has become so popular.
I am not kidding. I was on 71st Avenue, right? The train station. There was this girl, Asian girl, right? But I guess she was like Southeast Asian, kind of had dark skin, full on schoolgirl uniform, right? And she's listening to little K-pop dance, she's like twirling her hands, she's like lifting her feet. I'm like, that's interesting. Like you could just tell she's listening to some K-pop, But it was surreal. I'm like, huh? Cause she was a little like schoolgirl outfit, and then doing that, that kind of dance they do and shit, Kind of interesting on the subway.
I tell you one thing about that K-pop stuff. They haven't given up on music videos. All their videos look like shit that was with better effects from early 2000s and late 90s.
I find it funny because I was wondering years ago, I'm like, whatever happened to boy bands? We just don't have them in the West. They got plenty of them over there.
Yeah.
It's like that with a lot of things.
It's interesting. We got all tired. How do we go from Dead Space to K-pop?
I don't know. You brought it up. You brought up the company, the publisher.
Yeah.
I do have a question since you guys are going on a tangent. So what pizzas did you guys eat?
Mike's Pizza.
And was it good?
It was all right.
It's okay. They're not as good as Valentino.
It ain't no Valentino or Little Italy.
Yeah, they ain't that. It's all about the sauce, man.
Yeah. It's what you call it's like the cheap New York pizza. It's like stupidly greasy.
Yeah, yes.
Usually if your pizza is greasy, right? There's 2 types. There's the one if you have pepperoni and it has all that orange grease. The normal pizza has that orange grease.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's just all right, but it's still good pizza.
That's the same shit that you see the little white ladies. They would pat it down with a
with the napkin and shit. Yeah. Oh man!
I don't want all this grease. Then why the fuck did you get a pizza?
I'm getting a Diet Coke to wash my figure. Bitch, drink some water then. Anyway, I think we're done here, man. We shorter show because no Brett to fight with. We actually get along with each other. We don't have that oppressive white man trying to keep us down.
Oh.
You know?
Oh,
Oh man, I'm being an asshole. Anyway, do we have anything to plug? I'm looking at you.
Oh yes. So yes, I will continue to be at New York Comic Con. You will find me at E14. Literally just straight down the first row. So you can come by, see what's up. Got some stuff there. Got a fun Cyberpunk print that I just recently did, and a couple of older prints that I hadn't had for a while. A couple of BioShock ones. I pulled out the old Che Guevara Big Boss image. So yeah, good stuff. You don't need to buy anything. You just say what's up, or if you want, you can pick something up. It's all good.
Good stuff. Adam, you got anything?
We got another episode of I Am Negan. This is for the Mothership, The Walking Dead, episode 18. So if you're into The Walking Dead and want to know what's going on, you can check us out on Spotify, YouTube, the Coalition on YouTube, and the name of the show is I Am Negan, covering The Walking Dead. Myself, Rich Billy Jr., Carlos Romero.
Oh shit,
Romero,
the nuke.
You guys don't have that dude Ricky on no more?
Ricky's never done.
He was never on.
He never did that. He only did the WrestleCast, right?
Yeah.
Ricky.
And sometimes you would do a spoiler cast with us.
Oh shit, yeah. Hold on, Ricardo, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's how I knew him as. He wasn't that drunk dude though. That you had that.
No, we don't talk about him.
We don't talk about him.
We don't talk about him. I had to block him. He still sends me stuff like 3-4 in the morning. I had to block him on all my shows.
Hey, okay. Oh man. Anyway, we're out here, man. So make sure you follow us on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord where the conversations and the rumors are always popping. You can go find us on any podcast app on the planet. Throwdown Show towards Throwdown Show. We are also on throwdownshow.com where you can listen to previous episodes. And if you've been watching us on YouTube and enjoyed the content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when our premieres go live. And shout out to the YouTube gang. I don't know what happened, but lately the numbers have been going up. Which is the Call of Duty one was 1,400. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
See?
TD is back.
Yeah, it's back, baby. Maybe we'll go back to YouTube. If the numbers keep going, leave Twitch with all this bullshit. Anyway, links to everything down below. Once again, I'm your host Tony Polanco, and tonight joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
This is
Adam Vale.
Have a good weekend, people.
And Brian Manjoma.
Man, that Cyberpunk edge runners it gets real deep towards the end. I'm still not finished yet.
Oh shit. Good stuff. All right, people, we'll see you on Sunday. Later.
Laters.
Sunday.
Davey, no.